The governor replaces the future president of the United States. Hold on tight. It's the new season of The Celebrity Apprentice on NBC coming up right now.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hello, AfterBuzzers, and welcome to the after show for, the new Celebrity Apprentice over on NBC.
Don't you know?
I'm your host, Grant Rutter. Grants _ Rants on Twitter, and sitting next to me.
Hi, I'm Alison Dean. You can find me everywhere at the Alison Dean.
Hey everybody, Christy Olson here. It's been like 2 years since we broke down this show. We've been waiting that long. It's so good.
A lot has happened in 2 years.
Wow.
Did we ever think when this show came back where we would be?
Oh, that's so deep.
on every level. Meanwhile, let's talk real quick. The show now here, it's Silicon Beach. It's really trying to rebrand the show, but I knew within the first 6 minutes this was going to work or not, and they are staying true to the format, so I give it my blessing. I think it's pretty good.
Thank God, Grant. Thank God. It has Grant's blessing.
The show can continue.
Otherwise, the producers would have really I don't know what they would have done.
They would have had gone back, recut the whole thing. We'd all have to wait for it.
Yeah.
No.
Another 2 years.
Yeah, no, I was wondering if it was necessary, and I've always said this is my favorite show. Something about it. I like a good messy ego system with celebrities.
Oh, yes.
I used to love to make fun of Donald, and that is just not, that has lost on me at this point. I just have no words.
But now you have Arnold.
Yes, Arnold, well, what do we think?
And
real
his
quick?
hair.
We're going to go really quick, by the way, because we have, basically it was a double show, and we only have so much time here in the studio. So, hold on.
Hold on. Hold on!
I love it.
I see what you did there, Grant. I see what you
Well, talking about Arnold, I did not know that he was such a colossal jerk. But I do now. Hey.
But I'm wondering if they were telling him really play up your jerkiness. I kind of feel
Like the cigar.
It wasn't directed at everyone though, Allison.
True. That's
Said
true.
jerkiness.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely is picking some faves, right? You can kind of tell.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, of course. Well, the advisors on this show are Steve Ballmer, Warren Buffett, Tyra Banks, Jessica Alba, just a few to name the big names. So there's a lot coming up. What else do we want to say?
Rocco DeSpirito will be there as well. Tracy Edmonds, Justine, Lisa Gibbons will be back.
That'd be great.
AfterBuzz
She
friend,
killed
Lisa
it
Gibbons.
that season.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to have her on. She won.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Who stood out to us? There were a lot of people on the show, but just in the initial expectations, this list came out. My God, I was in high school when they announced the cast originally.
Right.
So it's who were you excited to see? And then we'll see how it unrolled throughout this episode, really.
Honestly, there weren't any names. I was like, oh my gosh. It's a good mix. It's a grab bag. And there were a couple people that I thought would make a bigger splash, and they did, like Snooki. I was looking forward to see how she would handle herself. And I guess the way that she did was so unexpected that it was entertaining.
I think I was excited for Carson Kressley because I just think he just has a zinger for everything that comes out of his mouth. So I knew he would be a lot of fun. And as a fan of Beverly Hills Housewives, I was curious to see how Kyle was going to be. And so far, interesting.
I kept hearing a lot about Boy George. I kept hearing a lot about him on the show, how he was so great, and he supposedly does very well. No spoilers or anything. But he's full of surprises. So I was curious to see when they were going to start, and he's delivered. He's not fading into the background, I guess we can say.
How could he?
Yeah, no. And then who else
Right?
is on
With
there?
that purple eyeshadow?
I wanted to see how they were going to portray Portia, because she's not the
Yes.
sharpest knife in the drawer.
Well, not the sharpest and also not the cleanest, as in she's messy. That sounded weird, so I had to explain.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, a little messy. Let's talk about this very first task. Well, they come up with the names. It was before we get there. Ricky Williams came up with Arte. What does that mean?
Arte?
It means
Arte.
striving for excellence in Greek.
Okay, in Greek.
It means that he knew something we didn't know that he knew.
I was a big fan
True.
of Team Pump.
Yeah, you like that? Yeah. I thought they were gonna go with that.
I just think it's kind of going to be an interesting thing for everyone to sound out differently as the season goes on.
They already were tonight.
Yeah.
Arate. It was like a whole thing.
Yeah, and then
Arit.
when you have Arnold say it, forget it.
Yeah.
And then Snooki suggested they call their team Vagina because it was strong, but they didn't go that route, surprisingly enough, for a network show.
Thank you, Snooki.
Yes.
Thank you.
Lisa Leslie, really someone to watch in my opinion. She came up with Team Prima for her her side. So it's always interesting to see who's bold enough to say, nope, this is my idea, this is the name we're going with.
Yeah, but there was very little discussion and very little controversy.
I
at the
agree.
names. It was basically like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll go with that. That's great. I mean,
I wonder how much time they give them though, which is something that we didn't see. So maybe they were like, okay, you got 10 minutes, figure it out.
Yeah.
before we start etching it up on the door.
Yeah.
Right,
Vagina. Right.
I miss the real Star Jones when she was on this show. She would purposely find a problem with anything that wasn't her idea. So I feel like we need that a little bit. I like stuff
I think
that's
we'll
just
get that a
difficult
little
to
bit
be
more.
difficult, you know?
I think I don't know. There's
Yeah.
a few personalities right now where
I
they're
was
starting to come to
expecting more
surface a little bit.
clash.
They're still figuring it out with this
Yeah.
first week.
Bring the conflict, people.
Oh
So Patrick Knapp Schwarzenegger, nephew to Arnold, and he's an entertainment lawyer and as well. Tyra Banks, we all know who she is, and then
Who's she?
who else was
Just
there?
kidding.
A businesswoman, and those two were the two advisors on the first task, which was for Tyra Beauty. They had 4 models, they had 2 glam ambassadors or glambassadors, and it was all based around being a fresh and fierce face.
Fresh and fierce people.
Yes.
They both sold me on those products.
Oh really?
Yeah.
You're ready to
Yeah.
go online?
Yeah, the whole the finger and the 5 minutes. It's a great concept. So it was interesting to see what each team did with it so differently.
Right.
I agree with that.
Yeah, the women pushed Portia in for their project manager
Which
position.
I thought was very entertaining.
Yes, she was a little reluctant, which is like, even if you don't really want to do it, you have to say like, all right, look, I'm being nominated for this. You have to own it, and you have to be confident that you're going to do the job.
Right.
You have no choice anyway, and that's your first impression to everybody there.
Right, when everyone's looking to you and basically nominating you,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not very brave to be like, no, unless you have a very
Yeah.
good reason
Right.
why you
Well,
shouldn't
she
do it
was-
and can state a case for yourself.
She
And
was
she
a-
did not do that.
She was a little leery, but then it seemed like she was. As people were like, "We'll help you. We'll support you. We're here for you." She's like, "Okay,
she
I'm
ate
good,
that
I'm
crap
good."
right up.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, be careful.
It didn't take much. She was like,
No.
"Oh yes, I'm project manager. Yes, yeah."
Well, for the men's team, his eyes were between Carson and Boy George, but Carson, unlike Portia, really had a point where he's like, no, this should be Boy George's. He's the man with the makeup. This is much more in his wheelhouse, and their concept was built around the manly men doing makeup application.
And how easy
Yeah.
it is,
Yes.
and how if a manly man can do this to anybody, then you can too. I thought that was so smart.
Not
Actually,
bad.
I thought that was
Yeah.
like all things considered, giving what they had to work with. I thought it was a great idea.
Right, because how else can you use them? They're not going to put on the makeup themselves. That would make the bread into like a clown makeup
Make
joke.
it silly.
Yeah, so how else do you use them? It's appropriate.
Right.
Where the women, at least me, I didn't see where they had a conversation about what their concept was going to be.
No,
I didn't see the scene where they said you're going to do this and you're going to do that. I just saw that Christy say, "I'll be your assistant. I'll do whatever you want to do." And
Oh, Carrie.
Yeah, Carrie. And Carrie.
Well, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, what I call her?
Christy.
Oh, Christy. Who knows? Oh, goodbye. Yeah. No,
hasta la vista, baby. Yeah,
Yeah. So,
right.
But yeah, Portia, I knew. I was like, oh, this girl. It's just not going to work out for her. I just knew she wasn't going to win this, but I thought she was going to be out, which we later saw that she wasn't. So at least she's still in there.
Maybe the ladies wanted her gone.
Maybe. Here's the thing, though. I thought they were really doing a fine job until the very end when they all started to say, like, the spiel at the end, and then they were trying to do it in sync. I thought that was a complete mess. And that's where it sort of, like, it had a purpose, and then it had no purpose. It was all sloppy.
Well,
Even Carrot Top wasn't laughing at the end. Did you guys spot him there?
Yeah,
He was there?
He was there.
Good catch.
Oh, yeah.
I
You
noticed
get
when he
to see
shot
that
it.
hair. We thought that
Yes.
maybe
How did I
he
miss
was
it?
He was an alternate, maybe. So he was there in case somebody.
He would make sense to be on
Perhaps.
the
He was
show.
speculation.
Wasn't
He
he,
would
already
make-
on the show? Was he ever on the show?
Oh, was he a friend of the show?
I don't know.
I don't remember him.
I don't remember
you know
either,
what?
but
He's
he would
on
be
so
right.
many
He
things.
would be
He has
ideal for
random
this.
reality.
No, I
You
feel
never
like
know.
I
See,
feel like
I'm
you should Google it.
convinced. I'm convinced that
Oh,
Layla
right. Why am I not
Ali.
Googling?
I'm
Googling.
convinced Layla Ali has already done this show. I'm like, I know she hasn't, but I feel like I saw her already on this show.
She's done a lot of
Dancing
stuff.
with the Stars.
maybe I confused her with like Claudia Jordan from this previously, but I don't know why I would. They don't really look the same but, at all. But I don't know why. I just feel like she's already done. I feel like I've seen her in something recently that was one of these, like a celebrity show. Okay, let me know in the comments if you know, because I've seen this girl on one of these types of shows before.
I think you're right, but I
I
can't
can't place
it.
which one.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Say Lovey.
Carrot Top has not, but there's a lot of discussion online of people who want to see him on the show.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
He would be hilarious.
And guys, please, give us a little leeway on this. It's been 2 years between this season. How are we supposed to remember what happened 8 years ago? Okay.
Yes. Well, we'll
Just
get
give us a sec
there. We'll
to
get
Google.
there.
Are they
yes.
not giving? They're giving everybody a hard time. No, they can't possibly be.
Well, I'm just preempting it because I do have the live chat open, and we do have a couple. We do have a couple there. Just Sheldon said the faces were funny. The faces that
Perhaps in the second one?
someone made.
Perhaps in the second one? I don't know. What did you think?
That is in
I'm
reference to
using my
something we were
hands a lot.
discussing earlier.
I love the moment in the first task when Carnie felt that she had to step up and just make a moment for herself. And she grabbed the microphone and was so loud. She had to like just own that moment. And it just was like, wait, who? Where'd you come from? Like she literally snatched it and dropped it.
That also
She
did
took a
not.
risk.
I mean, it seemed like it amused everyone, but it also didn't. I think help with the sloppy feel that was happening at the end there.
Yeah, no. At that point, it was so unstructured. It was just like, sure.
Yeah, you're like, why not? Why not? Why not? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it,
Yes.
Carnie.
So the boardroom for this. Oh, we're just moving right along.
P.S. Wait, can I just say that
Yeah.
I was obviously, I said in the beginning, I was like, this is one that the women should get.
You did say that.
They did not.
Yeah.
No, and it was kind of pretty clear as they went on that they weren't going to. I mean, I
Right.
felt like it was
Right.
obvious that they weren't on the right track.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. I think after we saw how much the men were on a
Yes.
promising path. Yeah.
Right. Well, even Arnold opened the boardroom and he said clearly one team was superior.
I thought that too.
John Lovitz was quickly checked for calling his longtime friend Arnold, but you don't do that, I guess, on this show.
Yeah, but that was also confusing. I said to Christy, I was like, wait, we need to check this because do previous governors, are they supposed to be called governor? We know this with president. If you're president, you're
Right.
always Mr. President. But with governor, I think you're just the honorable.
The honorable, yes.
Right?
My Google research.
but I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
My very hardcore research says
Hardcore.
I like it.
that former governor should be referred to as your honorable.
Yeah, like, I don't know. So I wasn't down for that.
Unless
No.
you're Jesse Ventura.
Unless you're Jesse Ventura.
yes.
Unless you're Jesse
That's true. I
Ventura.
forget about
Because
him.
you'll get body slammed if you don't.
Yes.
I mean, you could get body slammed by Arnold, too.
This is true.
But,
This is true.
you know.
So here were the positives that Tyra delivered. She said the women, oh God, yeah, to the women. She said the women stepped into the world of her beauty brand.
It was pretty. It was
Yeah,
pretty.
she
The
said-
lemons and the flowers and the
yeah. And then she said that they didn't like that they didn't talk about the tie glide technology.
Nothing. They spoke of nothing.
Thing. Yes, no, really nothing about the product
Right.
other than holding it. And then she said the 8 famous faces that were unused was just basically a
A
waste.
huge miss. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which the ladies carried a little bit too much to heart into the next task, which I know we'll get to. But
Yes.
I do want to say, when Snooki started talking about, in my tanning lotion line, it's very important what the formula is and all this, I thought, she's not the only one of these ladies either that's had a product or had a beauty line.
Right.
They all should have known to highlight the formulas.
Well,
more so.
especially when Tyra was highlighting it in her spiel with all of them and saying, I mean, I think what shocked me the most was how none of the women had Tyra apply any of the stuff onto them. Whereas, and Carson, that was one of the first things he asked, did the women ask for you to apply? And she was like, nope.
Oh, well.
I love that he
And
didn't just go with like, I want Tyra to put makeup on. He was like, wait, did the ladies do this? Oh, they didn't? Oh, it's going down.
Right. But that was shocking.
See, I wish I had a real opinion about where this all goes, like the positive, negative, and who's responsible. But we didn't see this play out on the show.
That's true.
Of someone saying, well, like, all right, Carnie, you're going to do this. And then we're going to cut this. Snooki's going to carry the board across for whatever reason. You know what I mean? Like, we never saw any of this.
Like
So I
the
don't know who to
play-by-play.
blame.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't know who to blame. Yeah. The
You're right.
play-by-play, yeah.
We used to get one task in the 2-hour episodes, right? Previously?
It's
sometimes
changed,
it was
yeah.
different, and sometimes
Last year it was
two.
doubled up, too.
Was it?
Was
yeah,
it?
it was doubled up.
Okay.
It felt rushed to me, though.
We've watched
Yeah.
so many hours of Celebrity Apprentice
Some
over
of
the
them,
years.
I
It's
know,
hard to
just
yes.
television in
what
general.
What it was like the premiere last season. I think this is right though. The premiere and the finale were 2 hours, one task.
Okay.
But then in between there was they would do one episode and followed up directly by the next episode, but they wouldn't necessarily have what we're having here, where it's literally one
long
linear
episode. That's what it was.
Yes. So who knows? It's a lot. I don't know what NBC's doing with the show.
Change.
I have no idea what they're doing with the show, but I'm glad it's on. Tyra told them then that they had their positives were they had a good knowledge of the product and what was in the product, as you mentioned, Allison. Also, Tyra says that she has a new way to sell her beauty products by seeing men use them.
And she liked that a lot.
And
I mean, that was kind of
no
important.
negatives.
No.
Well, we know Tyra's all about the handsome men.
Yeah.
She wanted to see those guys with that makeup on.
So if
Brenda
you don't
in the
know-
chat agrees with us that this all seemed pretty rushed.
Yes,
Yeah.
it felt just hurried to
Yeah.
me. It was like, wait, they're doing another one? Wait, there's
Right.
going to be another elimination? Like, it was a little...
Yeah.
Anyway.
So
All right.
if you didn't know who was going to win by then, someone's got negatives, someone has no negatives. All right. So they announced, Boy George is getting $50,000 to Safe Kids Worldwide, his charity.
Okay, Safe Kids Worldwide. If this sounds like something that you'd like to know more about, I am looking at their website. Their mission statement says Safe Kids Worldwide is a global organization dedicated to preventing injuries in children, which is reportedly the #1 killer of kids in the United States. So this is literally just about preventing accidents that injure children.
Accidental death. I mean, there's... Wow.
I'm
Yeah.
sure it's,
It's,
yeah.
It's a thing.
it's unique.
Yes.
It's a unique charity.
I just can't wrap my mind around how to prevent an accident. I mean, there's things like you can do,
it's
like
an accident,
keep
dude.
plastic bags out of like there's things you can do.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm sure they do good work. I just don't know exactly what they are facilitating.
Maybe they
I'm
haven't
just
done
ignorant
anything
to it.
yet.
I just don't know much about it.
He said they were new. They needed the $50,000.
Okay.
So maybe they haven't figured out quite
Great.
yet.
Well,
how
I
they're gonna
hope
prevent it.
they do wonderful things.
It could be educational too, though. Just sort of
Oh,
like
that's
all
true.
the different things that parents can do to prevent,
Okay. Like
accidental.
a PSA type situation.
Well, and also just think about all the different like tools and trinkets now that exist for households. Like the safe locks on all the cupboards and the staircase gates and like the.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I don't have a kid, but I've like seen a lot of these things.
Yeah.
And
Boy George does though either.
maybe it's effective. I mean, I'm sure if we had Boy George in studio, we would ask him, and he'd probably have a very valid story to tell us about something
Yes.
personal in his life where perhaps, sadly, maybe he was.
affected by this.
Yes.
Maybe.
So-
I just don't know.
All right.
All right, we're gonna
No
go with
shade.
that. We're
deeper.
going with
We gotta
that.
think
No
deeper.
shade on the charity. Relax. We're just
I will
questioning
say,
what it's all about.
I'm very
We know-
sad about Carrie.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Carrie,
Chris,
yes.
can we call her
Carrie?
Yeah, I'm very sad because I was down for her charity,
Yes. What was it again?
Oh,
Remind
she was
us?
Humane Society.
which I also
Yeah.
give my
Yeah.
money to.
You know what? She
Yeah.
made her mistake. I realize we're not there yet, but we're kind of rushing anyway.
I know,
Yeah.
we're like, and
She
we're
made the
there.
mistake of not asking for like a 10 or 20 grand for the charity. Remember how like when it was Trump, they could be like, "Oh, I'm so sad I have to go home now. My charity won't get any money," and he'd be like, "Oh, screw it, you can have 20 grand."
Yeah, what the hell? Hasn't he
should've
seen an
pushed
episode?
it.
Totally,
Yeah.
I agree
Come
with you.
on.
I totally agree with you.
Carrie.
Way to fail for the Humane Society, Carrie.
Who knows? Who knows where all that charity money went? Defense portion of the boardroom was going on, where Portia says that they would have made an emotional purchase based on their presentation, and that's how she would buy things, and that was her defense for why that
Most
rolled
people
out the was.
buy things like that, and it's an emotional purchase. So that I didn't know if like producers were in her ear saying, "Just say it's an emotional purchase." Like that to me, I was thrown by that because
Yeah.
shopping for women in general is like statistically emotional.
Yeah, it's a little
emotional
reaching
experience,
as to like being a counterpoint. It's like,
Right.
okay.
I mean, it sounded
Yeah.
good coming out of her mouth. So I
Yes.
was like,
But
all
just
right,
not
fine.
like something
Yeah.
she would come up with.
Yeah.
No, I don't
right?
know. I was like, I've seen the Housewives of Atlanta, so I was a little bit like, okay, all right,
Yeah.
okay.
Nicole says that she feels she didn't have a job or a title, which I always feel it's like, you can't wait for someone to tell you what to do on
What
these
am I
things.
doing, people?
Why was she not stepping up in the way of trying to get work done or trying to take on a task or trying to be that big personality? I mean, you're Snooki. We've seen you do crazy things on camera.
She's
You
not
won't
Snooki.
name
She's
someone?
Nicole now. She's
Well,
Nicole.
you know
know.
what? Nicole is boring.
Yeah, and Nicole's not playing the game. I mean, you gotta have blood on your hands in business.
But
Even
think about it.
even
She's
if you're
now-
working for
I don't know.
Schwarzenegger Incorporated.
She may be around for a while, because let's think
I
of
love
how
it.
this episode went down. She's evaded 2 boardrooms
That is
now.
true.
Yes,
That's
and
true.
not a good record though. From now
No.
to already be through. I mean, how are you gonna get to the end?
And she doesn't like to
I
throw
didn't-
anybody under the bus,
Yeah.
which is really funny.
I don't remember seeing Lisa
Again,
on the
you're
hot
Snooki.
seat that much in the beginning or at all.
It's valid.
Yes.
Valid.
Well, Carrie throws Portia to the wolves basically and says, well, look at who created the concept, blah, blah, blah. And then they're going back and forth. And then in a very rude moment, the appointee or the advisor and Schwarzenegger were speaking, I guess, German, we'll say a foreign language, about Portia not knowing when to shut up, which she really did talk her way into a corner. I don't know how she didn't get fired.
But that was shockingly rude.
Yeah, really.
It's rude to bust out in conversation that other people in the room cannot understand.
Yeah.
Thank God for a caption for all of us viewers at home. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. And then just second of all, his whole demeanor in doing it. I understand if I sat here and went on and on, and you guys rolled your eyes and were like, Christy, shush. But it's so disrespectful.
It
in
is.
Just his face
I
and
agree.
his yeah.
It was.
icky.
It is.
But at the
Yeah.
same time, he obviously is very fond of Portia. So it's very interesting in that way too, because you can kind of see in how he was behaving post that comment to his nephew.
Yeah.
He was like speaking so highly of her, and I don't know. He just seems like he's on Team Portia.
Yeah,
A little bit. I don't know. I was getting that vibe. We'll see how it plays
Interesting.
out.
I didn't catch that.
I was feeling that way.
either, but-
I was like, wow, you really dig
She didn't get
Portia.
fired,
Right.
so-
Yeah.
What is this? Oh God! Oh, Schwarzenegger.
I'm like, let me read your note.
I wrote SCH. Like, who the hell's that? I can't write the whole name on my notes, guys. But he says that he told Portia she takes risks, and that Portia suggests at that point firing Nicole, and then Carrie was what did she say? That she went above and beyond. She says that she was not. Oh no, she was credited with not going above and beyond in this task.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean, I kind of agree. She didn't. I mean, I thought it was interesting that she decided, she didn't have anything to do. I'll be your assistant. So creative thinking, good. She wanted to
Right.
appear to be useful in some capacity. But at the same time, if you see all these various things going on, and if you think you have an opinion on any of these various things, then insert yourself. And she clearly is someone that will speak up at
Yeah,
times.
hello.
So I thought that was odd.
Well,
It was odd, and if you're going to take on that supportive role, part of it is preempting what the other person needs. Just because you're an assistant doesn't mean you follow around and go, what do you need? What do you need? It means you're over there somewhere else doing what you need to be doing.
Yeah. But she, at the same time, I will say in her defense, she really was the only one that said, I will be your assistant and I will do it. I mean, I don't know if
Portia need an assistant?
I don't know if Portia knew how to use that character or that role, but I feel like everybody else that we mentioned in the beginning, we're going to help you. But this girl actually was planning, their intentions were for her to do something. And so, I don't know, I just felt like it was... I guess it was okay. I don't know. To me, I thought Portia should have been let go, but I don't want her to be let go from the show because I'm interested to see what other things are going to come out of her
Oh,
mouth.
there was gonna be some stuff, Grant.
Yeah.
There was gonna be
But
goodness.
from a business perspective, I'm like, why is the project manager not fired? But
Even going back to Carrie, the conversation that they had before they went back into the boardroom, the three of them, she was so uncalculated in that. She was basically giving Portia a reason to go into the boardroom and say, oh, this is what Carrie did. She didn't play the game.
no, I
She didn't play the
agree.
game.
Challenge number 2 started at the El Capitan Theater, and Eric Dickerson would be out, so we can't talk about him.
He had a. By the way, can we just say, because we can't talk about him for this task, he was fabulous in the first
Yeah,
one.
I
He
liked
was
him, yeah.
surprisingly glorious. So
He was into it,
Props
so
to
in
you,
it.
Eric Dickerson.
We look forward to seeing you on the show again.
Yes.
Yes.
Meanwhile, this challenge was for Trident, and it was a task to create an original song and video, and the theme was "Cherish Your Teeth." And it was judged based on the campaign
Cherish your
integration, creativity, and overall entertainment value.
Doesn't cherish your teeth just? It sounds better when you say cherish your smile.
Yes.
Cherish your teeth. It just, I don't know. Anyway. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Trident was
I'm not
the
a
problem.
Trident
Yeah.
executive, so what can I say?
Those Trident executives didn't look very creative either.
I don't think
Take a
that they're
look.
the ones that came up with it. I'm just
Yeah.
saying. I'm just,
The
I
suits,
don't know.
the suits.
My thought would be it's a whole team of marketing people,
Yeah.
and they were just the ones to relay the message.
Carnie Wilson, very outspoken. I like her a lot. She was the project manager for this one. She was all about songwriting. And then Brooke Burke said that she was just going to lay low. She didn't want to do it. And I'm like, well, you guys need to play the game a little bit. Like, Brooke, why are you there? What do you, if you don't want
Something will go down, because she seems to be very she's inserting herself, and she's obviously, finding roles for herself in each one of these challenges. And so I think that there'll be some drama with Brooke.
I don't know really what she did in either task. Now that you said her name, I was like, oh yeah, Brooke was there.
Well, she was on
where
she was on the design or the creative portion of the first thing, right? So we saw her like with all the decor and all that jazz. And then in the second one, with the Trident stuff, she wasn't in the filming, so she.
No.
I don't know.
See?
Yeah.
And she's not bringing the drama in the boardroom.
This is a
I
miss.
expected her to, but you got to do one or the other.
Yeah, I want them to break down the roles. I'm with you, Grant. Like, they need to be like, and you're doing this, and you're doing this, and so that way we're like, okay, yeah, she really didn't do that.
Right, yeah.
Or so-and-so was responsible for what they didn't like.
Yeah, it's just too quick. And we talked about this last season, too. We were a lot of details. Remember in the old days when they'd be like...
The old days.
When, I'll stop with my politicalness. But the old days when they'd be like, DT would be like, men, do you want to see the video the women created? And then they'd show the other one the opposite.
Oh, I like that.
And they would, and then they'd ask, like, they'd be like, Meatloaf, what did you think of that?
Meatloaf!
Very deep. What did you think of that, the women when they were running around in a miniskirt? And then they'd be like, well, I thought it was good for the brand. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they would give feedback on each other's projecks. And it was so ridiculous. But
and
at
that's
least
2 hours.
A little bit more.
Right.
A little bit more meat.
I like
if you will.
that format better.
Yes, this is a little rushed.
Little
We had the same
better.
problem last time.
And maybe that's what brought the lack of
Cohesion
controversy in
and
the boardroom.
Yeah.
The boardroom was not very heated. It wasn't heated during either task on either team. And I think things like that, when you bring out criticism, that's what causes that heat.
And when people have very specific roles, right? So then you can really pinpoint, like, oh yeah, that really didn't happen, and that was the person responsible. So because that's why all the women were like, I don't know.
Yeah, I have to laugh. Both times they had to have Arnold say, this is where you come in to cut throats. This is where blood will be spilled. This is really where you could just throw down. And everyone's like, I'm just really uncomfortable answering the question.
And that's on casting.
Yeah,
I mean, I
don't
could
wanna
look at
do
this
it.
lineup
Like,
and
I'm
tell
not
you
interested.
that there's too many timid people, or there's not enough drama,
Yeah.
there's not enough big personalities, there aren't enough housewives who flip tables or whatever they've done.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I could have told you that.
Yeah,
But go Lisa Leslie.
Yes.
Yes.
John Lovitz was the head over on the male side. He was good at directing. That was his credit. That's why he took on the role. Kyle wants to create the concept. She came up with the concept in a van, keep in mind, with only half of the team there.
Right.
And she had the idea of having Layla having a knockout smile versus Snooki, or Nicole as we're calling her now. And so like then later on, Lisa, when she heard about this, she said that she thought that they weren't celebrating different smiles, and she was very concerned from the get-go.
Right.
And the concept did sound good at first. I was like, oh, that's going to be fun. But when Lisa pointed out that it wasn't what the executives were looking for, you could clearly see that. And they should have taken a different turn.
Like, I thought Knockout Smile was super smart, but I was hoping that wasn't it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I thought that would be a portion of what they were going to accomplish, but, bringing it back to the dudes, the fact that they were they were great listeners, and they realized we're going to have to focus on different smiles and highlighting life's little whatever moments. Life's little smiles. I
Life's
thought that
little
was
smiles,
genius.
yeah.
That was very
Yeah.
that was very smart.
For the women, I can't believe none of those ladies knew. I mean, Snooki's always on Snapchat and all these things. Like, no one knows how to use a camera. Like, I was really surprised that they used a GoPro, which is fine if that's what they were given. I mean, I use a GoPro. There's nothing wrong with them. But they shot with them on sideways, and the shot, it was so shoddy the way it was put together. The production value was like.
But isn't someone like
lousy.
handing you a GoPro? Like, the producers couldn't have been like, by the way, don't hold it sideways.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they totally could have.
I feel like it'd be very easy.
Here!
The same, because those GoPros, they come with so many different things, attachments and underwater things.
You're right.
Someone's got to show you, like, hey, in order to get this out, because there are cases that are sealed. You can literally put them like 800 feet under the ocean, It's like someone's got to show you how to do this stuff, but whatever. I don't know.
Maybe there'll
Half
be a
the stuff came
GoPro
back.
challenge at some point during this season where they will get taught how to
That'll
use
be
it.
really
You know
funny,
what?
actually.
They
if there
could
was.
do a whole marketing thing with them, because that's a huge. So they're trying to make this all about Silicon Beach and all that. That would be a smart, innovative technology product they could use if they know how to do it. What else? So the footage was sideways, and Carnie was focused on just the music, really. It seems
Yeah.
like more than the video.
I mean, the song was fine. I thought it was cute. It was.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, the whole thing was cute. It just going back to what the executives were asking for. It really wasn't what the executives asked for.
Yeah.
So it was cute. It was fine, but it wasn't what they asked for.
yeah.
That's a big miss.
Yeah, Lisa Leslie, though, MVP of that team, even though it was all on deaf ears.
Yeah.
She is the clear front runner at this point.
Yeah.
Well,
She's
she
miles
is.
ahead of
I
everybody
mean,
else.
hello.
Real
Look at
leader.
like what she's
she's
done.
accomplished.
I
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
a true leader in every sense of
She
the word.
really is.
Yeah.
She is a true leader, and you could definitely see that in how she was handling herself in the boardroom.
Yeah. Meanwhile, over on the guy's side, John Lovitz, he had an idea about British having bad teeth.
Yeah, that wasn't good. But I was happy that all the men spoke up.
Yes.
And then I was happy that John was like, okay, actually, you're right. This is not the best idea. And we'll go with yours.
Yes, and you mentioned Life's Little Smiles, Carson's idea.
That was such a smart idea. Go Carson Kressley for the
Yes.
win.
And anytime you can take like a group like this, the way to make them cohesive is to have everyone bring their own little thing. You know, the one guy gets to talk about his kid, and John gets to talk about his dog, and the other gets to eat chicken wings. It's like, that's how you bring out the best in everyone.
Yeah, personal touches.
I mean, the video, I thought, I know that they said that the production value was low, but I'm like, yeah, the production value was low for both of them. Like,
yeah.
what?
I thought the women's was
Hello,
looked
outdoor
terrible.
lighting. Ew.
Yeah, I thought the women's though looked even worse.
It just like, none of them
my
were,
opinion,
oh my
but-
gosh. Yeah.
Well, Boy George is not happy that Vince is drinking, but it looked like they were having a good time together.
For like a second, and then they were like, no, we need drama.
Yeah.
Let's figure out,
Yeah.
I wonder, what do you guys think about that? So Boy George is sober, and he isn't comfortable with someone drinking around him, but is that Vince's problem?
No, and I thought Vince actually articulated that rather perfectly when he was like, don't push your sobriety on other people. Because,
Right.
when you're living in life in these situations, you have to be strong in your own
Like,
self.
you're a rock star. People don't drink around you. I
then
just
again-
find that surprising.
Yeah.
And you can respect that. If they're friends and he says, oh, I don't like that, and he's like, oh, well, I like you, and I want to make your life easy,
Yeah.
then I'm going to not drink in front of you. But if this is someone that you have you don't have to answer to,
See, I stand with the earlier part. I think it's just a respect thing. He doesn't have to drink that glass of wine. He can do that in another project somewhere else off the show. I just think if he really truly respected Boy George, he wouldn't feel that
no,
comfortable.
you're totally right. You're totally right.
I
It does
think
show a
that-
lack of respect.
Boy George,
Yeah.
though, if he was really that uncomfortable, could have done it in a totally different way. Hey, Vince, I'm so sorry to do this. Just be a little bit more humble about the whole thing and just say, look, it really makes me uncomfortable. I would so appreciate it if you just wouldn't drink around me because it really affects me.
Yeah.
And, I'm so sorry to have to do that. And I feel like if he had approached it that way, I think Vince Neil probably would have been like, all right, dude, I'll dial
Yeah.
it back.
Yeah.
But because he
Both
came
ways.
at it in a more threatening way, like, you just need to do this, you need to respect me and respect my sobriety and not drink, well, then Vince is like, no, I don't. But it's all in, I don't know, it's all in how you handle
And
things.
there's something under the surface there with those two, and Vince Neil was
They're
throwing
both
jabs
has-been
about
rockers, and
exactly.
They're trying to get their limelight back. But what happens when your team wins and you go back to the room and everyone starts toasting champagne?
Right?
Yeah,
Like,
he's,
you'd be
I
like,
don't know,
excuse
exactly.
me, guys, let's not celebrate because
That's a
my
very good
sobriety.
point.
Yeah.
Like, you
Thank
never
you,
eat in
Jimbo.
a restaurant. I mean, people drink, man. Get
That's,
over it.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
that's
See, all
true.
this is true. All this is
Maybe
true.
they're just hunting for
Agreed.
some just drama on
Maybe
the
in
men's
the
side.
studio, it just really affects him.
I think
don't
that Vince,
know.
that's probably it. He's Vince Neil. Of course, he sits in the studio and has a drink.
Of course,
Hello,
yeah,
like,
it's
that's
true.
what they do.
I know.
But boy,
Yeah.
but Vince Neil was saying something like, "Oh, this isn't the British in the '60s." I'm like, you guys both were huge stars in the '80s. Like, what's the shade? There's something else going on between those two.
But it seemed like they were such bros initially, so I was confused.
Well, that's how it all starts out.
Anyway,
Yeah.
okay, well,
We'll
we'll
see
see.
how it progresses.
Yeah,
We'll
well,
see.
they had a screening of the video, and Boy George had a lot to say about it, a lot of criticism, and nobody really cared. No one cared what he had to say about the video. I don't know. I would have been like, if there was one like leaky pipe, I'd be like, oh wait, we need to like pay attention to this a little bit. But I guess it was all said and done. There's not much they could do.
The chat roll is
no one
wondering if
cared.
those commercials eventually go on TV, and they do not.
No.
There have been tasks where
Wouldn't
they
it be
become
great?
a viral video, but that would
Yeah,
be
oh
great.
yeah. I love when they're like, let's create a viral video. Yeah, good luck. We're still
Wait,
trying
we
to do
should,
that.
We should see though if it has like views on YouTube or something.
See if
Is
it's
it
even
on
there?
Yeah, like
I'll
to
check.
try to
Maybe,
post
yeah.
the video and like.
I highly
Yeah.
doubt it because it was not a good look.
Well, speaking of the videos, the presentations, I thought that the song for the women's team, the Carnie Wilson song, was a little better than the video itself. I enjoyed this.
Agreed.
Where like the other one with the men, the concept was good, and the song I don't even really remember.
I don't remember the song. I agree.
So it can't be that great if 3 out of 3 don't really remember.
I feel like I
Which is
need to hear
surprising.
both of them separately again and not see the video.
Yeah.
Like just the song.
And I couldn't help but notice that the men's video had no product. They didn't have the gum.
No one was chewing any gum.
No, they weren't opening up.
Yeah, that's a
they didn't have it
huge
there.
miss.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
they-
the Trident Juice 2 is all about that packaging, that there's like no wrappers, no
Oh wait,
mess,
they had
and
it at the
didn't show
end.
any of that.
They had it at the very end, right? And then
Right,
the
at the
hashtag
end.
cherish your teeth or
Yeah.
whatever
that
smile.
Yeah, no, it did come up at the end, but we didn't see these celebrities using the product, you know.
But I don't
They
think
were
that
more
wasn't
happy.
that wasn't what they said to do. They didn't say your task is to show people using the product. They said
Okay.
you need to be highlighting different smiles, and that's what they did. And so at the end, they
Maybe,
punctuated
yeah.
with the product. So they
Yeah.
were kind of like Trident for those, they were like implying that Trident was helping with all these different lovely smiles. Anyway, I thought that was okay. I thought that was okay.
I mean, I think it's a missed opportunity.
I agree.
You know, I mean,
They
especially
still won.
like
I'm like, they won.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they won.
Even
It was
like,
pretty clear.
Even in the other Celebrity Apprentice seasons, I always it was like, if you don't, why don't these people show the product? You can't show it enough. Especially if you're one of the things is that you're being campaign integration, and products. Well, this was not based on product placement, but I think if you want to make an executive happy, you show the product that they sell.
There's a fine line though, and I just in my experiences with marketing.
Yeah, no, I'm curious.
There's yes, you should always show product, but it's how you sort of get the message across. So if you can still leave people with the impression of what the product was, then that sometimes is enough.
Okay.
Maybe like less is more.
Well, it's like, yeah, if you're just holding like the freaking Trident container
Again,
the whole
for the
time,
emotional
it's like,
purchasing, right?
Yeah.
people are connecting with messaging, not necessarily with
Okay.
holding the product the whole freaking
Alright, that
commercial.
makes sense.
I don't know.
Yeah, I get that.
It's
Yeah.
like
You
you're
know
kind of
that.
like,
You're the
why?
expert, girl.
Why
I
are they
know, yeah,
holding
you know,
the
you're-
product?
you-
Well, I
clearly
don't
she knows her. I mean, she does know her stuff. So
I'm just
listening,
saying,
yeah.
Anyway, I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to hear like from
Yeah.
Right.
that you guys wanted to see more
Right.
product. So I think that's
Yeah.
also interesting.
Just because I've watched so many of these shows where they say they wanted to see more of the product, they wanted to see you interacting with the product. So if I were to do one of these, I would just be really, it would be
Just
really
hold the product.
obnoxious. It would be obnoxious, but it would be over the shoulder. It would be like, you know what I mean? It would be
Here I am, Trident.
Yeah.
Trident.
Because I wouldn't want to hear it. I wouldn't
Right.
want to hear it. But yeah, that just stuck out to me. Because it was like Carson had shoes, the other guy was looking at his cell phone. I'm like, okay. I guess we really are just selling more of like a feeling than gum. I
A
don't know.
story, yeah.
Anyway, what else is on here? So the clients looked very unhappy when the men had their presentation, and that wasn't a good sign, I thought. But there's always a twist. In the boardroom, there was a lot of back and forth. Where Lisa Leslie came out and she said that she was not happy with the concept that Kyle was so proud of. And what else can we say? What did you guys think of all of the back and forth? We'll just look at the boardroom as a whole.
Yeah.
Because we gotta move it along.
I mean,
So-
I agreed with
Yeah.
everything Lisa Leslie said.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's count how many times we say that this season.
Right, yes. Nicole said that Lisa's not a team player. The positives of the women's
I
video.
totally disagreed with that.
Yeah. She's the definition of like a team person, but they like the video production of the women's video, which I'm like, they like the production value, and they did not like the plot. They thought that the plot took away and overtook the branding message of the storyline.
And that was the ladies taking that criticism from the first task and going, okay, we're really going to show our faces and use our celebrity, and Layla Ali's a boxer and Snooki has this
Right.
reputation, and they just took it a little too far.
Right. And then there was a complaint about the men's side having the video of eating all the chicken wings.
They were trying to find one fail.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah.
It wasn't clean like they wanted it to be with the gum.
Although Matt has been a bit of a standout too.
Matt
I expect
is-
him to do very well on the show.
And I was not expecting that
No.
at all. I will say.
And a negative for them was that the video did not match the brand and value and match the brand.
Like crisp, clean and fresh.
Yeah, and then
minty fresh.
They complained about the production value, but again, people, if you want, then you go hire a DP and get in a red camera and shoot something.
Right.
Don't hand someone a handheld GoPro and think you're gonna get a movie. Go to the El Capitan. It's so stupid.
You know what it is that none of these commercials really will ever see the light of day, because think how much Trident would have to pay these celebrities and the network and everything if they were really going to use these and use the people. And now that I think about it, I'm like, that could never happen.
You know, here's the one thing that
True.
they didn't highlight, and I wonder if Carnie even mentioned it when she was getting the boot, but Lisa Leslie filmed the whole first thing incorrectly because she filmed it sideways initially.
Right.
So even though she said, I filmed it and this is the one thing that they really liked, it was also the one thing that the whole group had to really hurry to fix, because, I mean, they had much less time in the editing bay because they had to reshoot everything.
Yeah.
So I wonder if Carnie said that and it just didn't make it to air, but I was
Kyle
like,
She should have
said
been hounding
that.
on it so badly that we saw it for
said
sure.
that. Kyle mentioned that as in her defense of the concept.
well, she should have brought it, Carnie should have brought it back when Lisa was throwing Carnie out of the bus.
True. Yeah. Kyle was like, you brought the video back crooked. And I'm like, all right, well, the video idea that they didn't like was yours, but all right. So she didn't bring her back, like we mentioned. Carnie got a lot for that. Arnold questions the whole thing, and basically they have back forth Nicole back in the hot seat again.
No, but you know, Lisa Leslie gave her props and said she was there all day doing this boxing scene and all day
I
doing
appreciate
the
that,
editing.
too.
And I do. That's why I'm loving her so much. It's like you can give a name, you can go there, but also if you're reasonable and sensible and you do it in a respectful way, you can, you know, give Snooki props too and be someone that we can look to in the boardroom as a leader instead of, you know, you're just throwing anyone under the bus or you're not saying anything.
Right. And Carnie, the gauntlet went down on Carnie Wilson, who I like on this show, but, you know, so, I mean, I can completely understand. This one I can agree with why, you know, she was the project manager. She by not taking her buddy Kyle in there, it all fell on her.
It was clear they had a little friendship going on there because they kind of saved each other earlier in the conversation in the boardroom, and then not bringing her in is what did Carnie in. Come on, Carnie.
I know.
Kyle Richards will be fine. She's Kyle
I
Richards.
feel like
we don't need her there anyway.
This cast needs a class in like Boardroom 101, but maybe
Yes.
as things
They'll
progress,
figure it out.
Yes,
They'll figure it out.
Right.
They'll figure it out.
yes.
One
It's
more
very
thing
early.
I just wanted to mention too, if anybody didn't catch this, the secretary, quote unquote,
right.
Yes.
not exactly Arnold Schwarzenegger's personal assistant 24 hours a day. She is a ring announcer on a wrestling show called Lucha Underground. She travels a lot. She does a lot of wrestling stuff. So I know she's an actress as well, but to see her sitting there, I was like, Melissa Santos, why are you here? I like it, but why are you here? So that's who that is, and she's gorgeous. BTW.
Yes, not really answering phones.
Maybe
Surprise.
we'll try and get her in here.
She's been here before, right?
Not yet.
What was
Oh,
it like?
We're gonna get her
Yes.
cute
There
butt in
with
here.
Did you ever even meet Arnold while you were filming?
I wouldn't be
know.
surprised if it was
All
a no.
the questions that we had.
know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Does she have to sit there all day for them to just be like, Melissa, bring them in?
Yeah. Did you address him as the governor? Yeah.
Oh my God, yes. Well, we'll be back to address more of these tasks and these people over on the Celebrity Apprentice. Please keep up with us, but give us a thumbs up. Give us some reviews, because we've got a lot of old reviews on iTunes for this show. I mean, this show's been around for a while, so we need to kind of update it, make sure that people can enjoy the show the same way that you are. Leave us a comment below if you're watching us on YouTube, and where can we keep up with you?
Well, guys, when you're giving those props online, my name is Christy Olson. You can always hit me up at Christy Reports on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. And please also watch XPAC 12360 right here on AfterBuzz TV and the Total Divas After Show, Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Pacific.
It's also juicy.
It's all so juicy.
You can find me everywhere, which is really only Instagram and Twitter. At the Alison Dean, and I host the Affair After Show, which is
Nice.
much different from Celebrity Apprentice.
A little different.
and we will do news and gossip next week, guys. We ran out of time.
Yeah. You guys can find me over on Twitter at Grants__rants and on my podcast, Grants Rants Hollywood Talk, with a new episode coming out Wednesday. Tomorrow's Wednesday, right? No, Tuesday. Excuse me. So it comes out.
all thrown.
And we're talking. I have no idea.
Either way, by the time you hear this, it'll be out.
It'll be out, and we're talking about Celebrity Apprentice on the show. It's a good show, and you can find me talking with Christy about Kyle Richards from this show over on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills After Show right here at AfterBuzz TV. We'll be back next week to talk more, where 2 more people will be fired,
So sad.
terminated.
So
and Blake V
sad.
may be joining us.
Maybe.
Yes.
Thank you all for joining us.
Yes. Hasta la vista, baby.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.